Hey, Nation, Harry here with an old friend, Vikram Khanna. How you doing?
Hey, Harry, good to chat with you again. I'm doing well.
Yeah,
How are you?
good. I'm sure glad we bumped into each other at ConnectWise IT Nation last November. Been too long. We'll get to that. What's your background in technology? And then we'll talk about how we met. So, how did you get into this business?
Sure. That's just an amazing story, Harry. So I graduated from college, and I started my career with Big Five Consulting. I worked for Arthur Andersen for several years. Got a great start in doing large systems integration projects. And at some point in that career, I realized that I was one very small part of a very gigantic ecosystem.
Yeah,
And that's what really triggered the desire to work and move my career into small business IT.
yeah,
And so really that's where it all started. And SMB Nation has played a very big role and influence really in my career, because it was 2008, the days of SMB Nation. I think that event was back in Seattle in those
it
days.
was. It was.
And as I started exploring what SMB IT options look like, that event was very, very instrumental in shaping, our journey as a company. Going out there and really discovering the whole managed services industry for these small and mid-sized businesses all over North America and the world, and what companies were doing to enable all of these small businesses and IT shops that had just made the turn from being VARs. So that's really where it all started, Harry.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned 2008 because, we didn't know it one thing we knew at the time when I was giving my keynote, the stock markets were crashing. It was that Friday afternoon or Friday morning when I was talking. That was the day.
That is absolutely right, and I clearly remember that, because when we spoke to people, and everybody said, well, listen, starting your business in recession can only yield two outcomes, and so for us it worked out. It was definitely slow in the beginning, just as that market took that dive. But obviously things really bounce back, especially for the technology world, and it continues to kind of hold that pattern till date.
Yeah, no, let me just quickly expand on that. The My most recent book, The Pocket MBA, a business book, with a little, tendency to talk tech, but I actually talk about some of the most successful companies started in a recession, and one of them was Intel. Intel started in a recession, and you learn to control your cost. You don't fly first class. You don't have a company car. I love it. Those are great stories. So what are you doing today? Fast forward the movie. I saw you at ConnectWise. Appreciate you saying hi to me, and so on. What is your business model?
Yeah, absolutely. So really going back to the SMB Nation event in 2008, Harry, what I discovered there in talking with a lot of channel partners was the need for vendor agnostic NOC services, which really is transformed into more of a proactive service from a reactive service. So in the traditional sense, the NOC was always fielding alerts and remediating things as things went down. Over the last decade, really, um, that function has transformed into a more strategic component for the MSP. This is the centralized services function, as we call it at ProVal Tech. And it's a very commonly used terminology for several mature MSPs. Really, that is the management of all of their internal tools so that they can be more efficient in running their businesses. So tools like your RMM, your PSA, your backup and disaster recovery, your security stack, they have become more and more complex. The learning curve to make them effectively utilized for your organizations is very steep. And that is really the need that we're filling for these managed service providers, is being that partner that can come in and providing that expertise on tools and helping them be more strategic on how they can automate more, how they can integrate these tools better, and how these tools work, and provide them a more competitive edge and advantage over their competitors. And one of the things that this really has played into is the whole labor crunch that the whole IT industry is going through right now.
Yeah.
I think the need to be more efficient and to automate more has become a necessity in the modern day MSP, versus a luxury, which is where it started. So this is going to become more and more of an essential thing for MSPs to be doing.
It is. Now, I always push back a little bit, not at you, but the concept of automation. I mean, I get it, and we're a species that evolves, and so of course automation is going to be, looking forward and being more efficient. However, in the old SMB Nation crowd, and you were there, you were definitely there, the old small business server crowd, we thought of ourselves as craftsmen, like a craft brewer, right? So the big brewers are going to be completely automated, but then there's these microbreweries that are craft beers, right? And these people really enjoy kind of doing the work, making the beer and pouring this in and pouring that in. And automation, again, I understand the context of automation, but it's not for everybody, if that makes sense. I always like to balance that conversation out a little bit.
Absolutely. And Harry, we've seen it all, right? And we preach this to our partners because there's always a fine line in what is what is going to be the, as we call it at our company, is the squeeze worth the juice that's going to come out of it. And so obviously the technicians sometimes get over passionate about wanting to automate. But the business really kind of draws the line on, hey, what really needs to be automated? And I will completely agree with the craft. I still believe that running a managed service business still entails a lot of craft. I think that craft is shifting from the nitty gritty into being more strategic. I think it's shifting into things like security, and cybersecurity, and data intelligence and analytics. And that is how MSPs are differentiating themselves. Whereas a lot of the day-to-day things are becoming more and more transactional and commoditized, if you will.
They are.
And that's our approach. We want to be able to take all of those mundane activities and make sure that they get done via automation. And what we've done really is put the craft together with the automation and the operations, which is why we're not just a NOC operations company. We're a combination of a consulting company that brings that craft for these MSPs, consults with them on how could they leverage tools better, what are some of the business challenges they face today, and then we combine that with a lot of our operational excellence of automation and the NOC services that we provide. And really bringing that mix together is what creates our secret sauce at ProVal.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, my head's spinning. We're going to get you back next quarter and have a different conversation about work-life balance. You and I were chatting after we reconnected at ConnectWise. That in and of itself, folks, is a good conversation. Is well, with all this time we have free from automation, now we can go have more fun.
There you go. No, absolutely, Harry. This is it was great reconnecting with you at Connect. I'm glad we were able to flag you down, and really happy to chat with you today.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Vikram.
Thanks, Harry.